we don't have to be an engineer to be a facility manager.
That's true.
You know, if the engineer will not gain communication skills and financial skills and stakeholder management, he will not be able to be growing in that career in FM. They have bachelor degree in space management in Canada and US. It's a huge industry.
4 years, really?
Yeah, and we can help not just to make buildings smart, make cities smart, make countries smart. Most of the BMS are commissioned after they open, maybe 1 to 2 years down the road. That's what happened in mega projects.
Just 2 elements that would end a facility management company, basically.
Yeah.
You need to... I'd like to introduce my guest today, Mr. Ali Alsuwaidi. His history, or his, if you will, his resume is extensive in regards to facility management. One of the few facility management professionals that I know that has gone through the historical journey in the GCC and now assisting us with Saudi Arabia as well. I would like to welcome Mr. Ali.
Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you for the invitation. And I'm glad to be here with you in this podcast. And it's a good platform for us to educate the stakeholders in the facility and asset and real estate and the various sectors that have a facility management an impact on them. So thank you for the invitation. And I agree, I started learning more about FM when I took my first course on integrated FM in 2006 with a guy called Alan Roger from New Zealand.
So wait, this is, you have to allow me to say it, because this is my tagline question.
Yeah.
And you're going to start it. I can already feel that you're starting with it. So
Yeah.
what is your, it was brief because we're going to probably need another episode just to cover it.
Yeah.
Your FM story.
So yes, my FM story started being a graduate in electrical engineering and going into telecom. And my thinking was, if I go more into telecom, it's one operator in UAE and now it's 2. So I cannot change. So when I started in telecom, I was in the power plant section, maintenance. So I said, that's good because I can go to electricity authority and others and factories. So I'm not purely telecom. And after that, when I took my first course in FM, and then I changed to health and safety, and then FM, I said, this adds to what I'm doing. I did power plant maintenance, I did health and safety, I did many other things during my time in telecom. I think it's good to be in the facility management industry. And I took my first course, and then I continued to enjoy what I do in facility management. And of course, after becoming the first FM manager in another telecom company for a year, I decided to go into FM company that offers FM as a profit center, that you make money from FM. So I joined MDAD for 2 years. And then I joined one of my biggest dream, which is taking over the tallest tower in the world. And I didn't stop after that. I liked Burj Khalifa, yeah. So, and then I thought about how can we impact the whole industry rather than just having a career. So we set up MEFMA, and of course
You're a co-founder in MEFMA.
Yes.
And we're talking MEFMA, we're talking the Middle East Facility Management Association, one of, or if not the first facility management association in the Middle East.
Yes. And then through MEFMA, I joined GlobalFM, and I'm happy to tell you today that I just became the chairman of GlobalFM January 1st, 2025. And this is a trust from the Middle East and from the global expert that I can become a chairman of GlobalFM, and I can contribute not just to the Middle East facility management success, but globally. So,
well, congratulations on that first. And I have to say, for us, as a Saudi, as a GCC, as a HADA, it gives us not only great pleasure, it makes us very proud to know that we have one of our own in the global sphere now.
Yes.
Implementing. And because also some of the sexiest and the best projects now coming up, mega projects, like you always say, is coming in our areas.
Exactly.
I mean, you have all these facility management companies coming from outside, looking into Dubai, looking into the UAE, Saudi, Qatar, Bahrain, everywhere.
Yes.
World Cup with us, now the World Cup football, so on and so forth. It's the properties which are mixed use and are complex are something new. Well, not very new, but is becoming new because they're becoming more complex.
Yes, yes.
And that's why facility management, I think, is becoming even more of a demand here right
Exactly.
now.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree 100%. And this is why I think, the industry need leaders. And this is why more leaders. And we need to engage also the new generation into FM because there is a huge potential. And this is why with our partners in the Middle East, we try to always create a platform to reach more individuals who are interested to be in the facility management industry. And yeah, mega projects, I think mega projects started early 2000, and you can see in Dubai and Saudi Arabia, King Abdullah Financial Center. In UAE, you have the Marina, you have the JBR, you have the downtown. And I was lucky, even in my book, to talk about these projects. I worked partially in King Abdullah Financial Center. I worked in the downtown area. I managed JBR. So I know most of the development in our region, and we know what stages they've gone through. And this is why through the facility management platform, we're trying to engage with government, with developer, to ensure that the impact of facility management is more in this project and create synergies and impact the life cycle of these projects. Because ultimately, it's not just the cost of design and construction. That's only 20% of overall cost. We need to impact the 80% cost, which is operation and maintenance. And of course, there is something called sinking fund. You need to reserve some money once these projects became 10 to 15 years old. You need to reinvest and bring them back to a better performance. And this is what we are passionate about in this industry. We are part of an important sustainable ecosystem, being real estate, education, healthcare, and many other sectors. They need us as an expert because, again, the previous concept of maintenance and operation is gone. It's facility management. You're not just an engineer. You know finance, you know sustainability, you know health and safety, you manage resources, you take over the burden of managing this complex building and making the core business guys, hospital or school, focus on their core business. So that's ultimately the objective of facility management professionals.
So you're talking about, and obviously in the UAE, you guys have already gone through this, is that you're talking about the market or the industry understanding of facility management. It changed and developed from or evolved from simple maintenance.
Yes.
Here in Saudi as well. And only now we're seeing the change. So also here in Saudi Arabia, the concept was maintenance, cleaning. Okay, so you're doing our landscaping, you're doing this. TFM was not coming into place. Sustainability, which I know you want to talk about, didn't come into place.
Yes.
Smart way of maintaining or smart technology or smart ways of maintaining didn't come into it because it was all about price. Give me the cheapest price, give me the cheapest labor, give me the cheapest the products and so on. Nobody's thinking about the environment. Yes. Nobody's thinking about the process, the protocol. There's so much we can talk about data collection and so on how to use the property or the building or the environment for the people to use.
Yes.
Right? Facility management, and I think I keep on saying this, unfortunately, in every episode, is that it's the best job. Why? Because it's never a dull moment. It gets us into every industry, if you think about it.
Exactly.
There is literally not one industry that doesn't work without facility management. I mean, we're involved in everything. And then, like you were saying earlier, it gets you in the best places. Burj Khalifa. I know you were working on Global Village as well.
Yes.
Must have been interesting as hell, to be honest. I mean, it must have been amazing. And these projects are, to say it's complex is an understatement. And the thing is, you're dealing with a built environment, and you're dealing with people. Two aspects that are, you don't want to say variations of it, but I mean, are unpredictable. People definitely. And a building, even though, and in your book and in, I think it was Green Minds, your other podcast, you're saying, I know, facility managers are like doctors to buildings, because buildings are like life forms or like beings.
Yeah.
And they don't, while it's built to operate in a certain way, it doesn't always go that way. when you have your leakage or you have your this or whatever, or a compressor breaks down or a chiller and so on. So you need that doctor. And you have different kinds of doctors, right? You have the proactive doctor and you have a reactive doctor. And I think facility management, and maybe you can talk a little bit more about this now, because a lot of people have gone and stepped away from being a reactive facility management, because it is now understood, and again, a lot of education goes in our thing, right?
Yeah.
Is that it's more expensive to be reactive. You'd rather be proactive to maintain the life cycle. So how do you see that? You've seen a lot of change in that?
Of course, I think it's all about education and managing risk, managing brand. And we always, the strategic goals of FM is to manage your, help you with protecting your brand as a company. Because God forbidden, if there is an accident or there is a failure in your facilities and your business got impacted. So we are an enabler for the business. We make sure the quality of life of the user of the built environment is better. And this is the strategic value of FM, comparing to earlier thinking you just maintain the equipment and you have nothing to do. Today, the organization need people who think about the focusing on core business while enabling core business to grow. And you know, in any organization, the most valuable asset is people. So if you take care of the quality of the people in that facility, then you are having a better productivity, you're having a better core business delivery. And this is what we are always focusing on when we, as a facility management professional. I think the industry is evolving. There is a need for us to put our hands together and focus with the stakeholder in delivering value for money, not just over a year or two, over 10 years or 15 years. And this is what we're aiming to through our platform as non-profit associations. And it's very important. When I wrote this book, I felt I do a lot of lectures and people listen to me and I give them all my secrets. But maybe I need to put all this in one book. And if somebody asks me a question, and it happened actually when I meet clients, he says, I need to have something that helps me to engage FM in the different stages. I say, open page 31 in my book. You're going to see how can I add value in the design, into construction, into handover. There's a clear description. We are the doctors of the building, and the buildings are a living organism. They are like a human being. They breathe. You have to think about it this way to be more creative. And imagine if the handover of that building is not good. It's like giving a birth to a baby into the kitchen. You need proper handover strategy. And this is why in my book, I don't call it handover. I call it building birth certificate. You are giving a birth to a project. You need to make sure all the parameters are clear, design parameters, quality of the build, O&M manual, as-built drawing. The training is important. Handing over to an accountable person who was engaged in the design to run it over the life of that asset. And this is what goes wrong, not just in our region, globally. The handover is not done well. So this is what, in my book, I made it a little bit more for non-technical people to understand the role of FM.
Layman terms, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we use these terms to make them understand. It's like giving a birth to a baby. You have to take care of it. And people think, no, wait, don't get the guys involved until we finish. I said, no, that's very late. Actually, our FM design review has to be put into the consultant and the contractor scope. We need to sit with them into the design workshop and validate the overall cost, not just the construction cost.
So on this note, again, I think it's in your book though.
Yeah.
It's design right, build right, maintain right.
Yes.
So, which means that facility managers or facility management companies or consultants or professionals, whatever you want to call them, are getting involved earlier, which in the past was never even considered. I mean, you have buildings like that were designed by people like Zaha Hadid, which are beautiful buildings, right? But for some facility management companies, it's a nightmare. And for the smarter ones, it is a dream, because you have variation orders all over the place. You have to create ways to maintain it that are out of the box and so on, which you get to charge the client, obviously. And so are you seeing a lot of change from because again, we were not looked, facility managers before, were not looked like important to be involved at design stage.
Yeah.
You see a change in that, and can you
Yes,
expand on
I
that,
think
please?
I think well said, Muhammad. I think yes, we design building, we make them iconic, but it's very late when we think about how we can operate them. And now, in recent design houses, I know many design houses, they engage FM consultant with them.
That's the right thing to do.
Yeah, and they want to have this FM operational brief during the concept. How I'm gonna run the building if I design it this way, and that will help the owner to take a call. It's gonna cost me too much to clean the windows, or it's gonna cost me too much to open a panel in the ceiling. So am I gonna go ahead with it, or I'm gonna change the design to make it more operable and maintainable? And now we have a lot of consultants who have an FM department. Now the trick, if this FM department formed by a design consultant are capable of giving the right input. And I always say, come and see similar development. If you want to build a school, go and see similar schools. Go and meet the guys who are operating the school and see their pain. And this is one of the chapters in my book. The pain when you operate a building and you never got involved in the design. The pain from the operator, and there is a blind spot for the operator, it doesn't see. And then the pain of the user of the building, because they have to shape themselves to fit in the building.
They have to live with it.
Yeah, we have a saying called, we shape our building, we build it, and then they shape us. Because we have to fit into that building. And we've never considered the other way. Why don't we gather the right information, understand the need of the users, and design or shape the building the way we want it, and avoid they shape us, we don't want them to shape us. So, and this is where, especially schools, hospitals, you can see in the hotel industry, they have a 5-star and 4-star. So they have a certain standards that will give them that stars rating from hospitality aspect. We need maybe to do something similar into the facility management. How can we give a building a 5-star? I know LEED certification has done it to achieve sustainability or environmental friendly scores, but ultimately without FM, your sustainability agenda will be limited, because there will be a huge cost on running and operating these facilities. It's an amazing discussion, and I think we need to enforce, or developer has to make sure that they have the right stakeholders into the concept and the design, and they have the right strategy for handing over of these mega projects and in general facility management.
Expanding on that as well, again, I think I picked this up in one of your other interviews. Space planning. So you're talking about the buildings, you're talking about this and all that. A lot of the mistakes that happen is with space planning.
Yeah.
They don't think about it at design stage. They don't think about it at build stage. They think about it after it's built.
Yes.
And that's why sometimes you all of a sudden have an open plan office that looks like the walls were broken down, because it was had walls all over, and the environment was not susceptible to the type of work environment that you're looking for. You know how the work environment as well has changed over the years, and space planning has now become is it a facility management thing?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
It is a purely facility. So
well, they have bachelor degree in space management in Canada and US. It's a huge industry.
4 years, really?
Yeah.
To learn how to space. I mean,
Yeah.
If you say that to my wife, I think she'd be very surprised, Yani.
Space
darling,
management.
I am a space manager. I went to university for that, by the way.
You see, I work in a university. Universities is an example. Offices are examples. Corporate organization, they have their many offices. If you don't have space management policy, and you don't integrate that into the design, you know what happened? When you take over a building, you're going to break down, change, evolve. And then what's going to happen? The electromechanical system going to be in the wrong place. So somebody will get sick sitting in his desk. So this is why space management is a critical element of any facility, and it will save you a lot of money. Because once you are efficient in your space planning, you're going to utilize the space to the maximum. And maybe you can use high tech. So hot disk is an important element of space management. And I've visited a lot of international offices in the region and in Europe. The latest was in Düsseldorf. They had an amazing space management strategy for it's a big factory. They had around 6,000 people in that factory. And they have areas where, there is entertainment, you take a break, you can rest and relax. And there is a lot of hot disk. It's not we need our space, and we make cubicles. And no, it's changing. The work environment is changing, and space management is becoming very important. So I think if we have a space management strategy within all the organization, we're going to have a lot of saving in energy, a lot of saving in space utilization, and we don't need to build more buildings. So space management, I think, is becoming a very important topic, and it's all about providing a quality service, but at the same time becoming more efficient and effective in space management.
I think that would apply especially for facility management companies or companies that have large operation teams.
Yes.
Where they come in, they get their briefings on, and then they're off. And most of the time, these people are spending 80% of their time out of the office.
Yes.
And they only come in because they have to print something, they have to do this, they're meeting with this or that or whatever. So yes, hot desking, definitely. Again, remember, these are newly developed ideas. And again, in the Arab countries, if you will, we're still used to liking and wanting our desk, our seat, a desk where I can put my stuff and leave it and so on and so forth. They don't have that concept. But I think, and rightfully so, it's changing, or it's changed also as a result of COVID. Because COVID took you out of the office and made you remote. So now when you come back into the office, it's a new way.
Yeah.
You know, the funny thing is that I just remember WeWorks, right? Or was it? No, Zoom.
Yeah.
Zoom, amazing idea. Everybody went out and they were on Zoom. Did you know that Zoom actually, I don't remember when exactly, they called all the employees back to the office?
Yeah. See,
but
it's
space planning.
Space planning.
I think Google is one of the best, if I'm not mistaken, exactly like you were saying. They build that environment. They have those entertainment areas. Obviously, people are staying longer than 8 hours sometimes as well. So it's very important that you have that environment, right? I mean, as facility managers, we maintain the environment so that you don't have to, and that you can concentrate on your core business. Now, it's expanded into space management. And space management is not just maintaining the environment. It is also making sure the environment is, if you want to call it feng shui, or you want to call it whatever, right?
Exactly.
Something like that. So the environment is a better environment for the people.
Exactly.
So moving on to the next one, BMS systems in the introduction of AI, IoT is nothing new, obviously, asset tagging and whatnot and so on. I don't know if I want to talk about the BMS system and it becoming obsolete, or how do you see? I'm intrigued by AI, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I was telling you earlier when we were sitting, and I use it in a lot of things. For AI and facility management, I think there is a lot of crossover. A lot. Where do you see that? Because I'm actually researching how to introduce AI into our business processes systems internally as well. So where do you see that?
Well, my first BMS was in 1998, 99. Imagine, I started using BMS at that time when I started my first job, and it evolves. But now it's time for open systems, open
source.
Open source. You don't need to have somebody is in charge of your system. He should give you the opportunity to make it open source, take information from it, put it in your data lake. And this is where you do create fault detection rules, certain algorithm, and this will help you to have machine learning. And this is where, once you have machine learning and fault detection rule happening, then you can slowly start the AI, artificial intelligent practice in your organization. It's all about data. It's all about changing the culture. And we always say people and technology. Technology without people and change management cannot be utilized efficiently and cannot be functional. And this is where I said that to my guys in the workshop I just attended yesterday, that you need an FF system, and technology is an important pillar, but people is another important pillar. So as I told you, BMS is becoming obsolete, especially the closed system BMS, and open source is important. And this is where, as an organization, you try to think, so I have a source of information, which is machine conditions. I have another source of information, which is CAFM. I have a third source of information, which is my call center, my client complaint details. I have, for example, a fourth source of system, which is weather condition, because based on weather condition, my preventive maintenance, proactive maintenance change, and my energy setting and tapping, because we see a lot of building, it's winter and it's very cold inside because they don't link weather to your operation. And I always tell the guys, most important thing is not maintenance, is operating your building the right way. If you operate your building the right way, the maintenance cost will drop, your energy cost will drop. So this is where AI is going to be is going to make our industry more resilient. It's not going to replace us. We need subject matter expert.
Yeah, he's going to replace some people,
Yeah,
not everyone.
But I always tell them, I cannot handle data. I'm an expert in FM. I need a data scientist to sit next to me, and they have to synchronize that data. And by the way, they will not understand the data. They will only synchronize it in a way. They will come to me, listen, this is the trending. And then as an expert, it makes sense. I think this building has a problem comparing to the other schools. And this is what I talked about in my book in chapter 7, 8, and 9, that if I have 1,000 schools connected to one data warehouse, the AI will tell me, you have a problem in these two schools because they consume more energy, their maintenance cost is higher. What's wrong? Is it life cycle problem? It's age problem? Is it competency of the people maintaining that building? Is it the standard operating procedure is wrong? Is the behavior of people, they are misusing the building over capacity? There is many parameters. And this is what we want. We want a disruptive way of doing FM. This is the future of FM. And this is why, we urge our FM companies not to wait for clients for them to do this R&D. They have a lot of data themselves.
Historical data.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And this is why just hire a data scientist that can help you to make sense of this. And once you go to a client and say, listen, my data scientist, my FM expert got me this kind of performance of your building. Oh, wow, you're different. You're not the maintenance guy. You're more of a person who can help me to solve my problem or predict financial impact, predict sustainability impact, forecast energy costs, not just tell me what's happened last month, what's going to happen next 2 months. So that's the future of FM, and I agree with you 100%. We need to think about AI and how to apply AI. By the way, a lot of BMS companies now thinking about how can they use AI to make their machines talk to them. Listen, I am a switchgear and I have a headache. My headache is that the voltage is dropping, the one that comes from the authority. They want to do that. And these, I don't want to mention name, but this big player in BMS, they are making this smart, AI or Alexa type of chat. It will chat to you. It will tell you what's wrong. It's in the early stage. But as a FM guides, I think we have a better way of controlling our own strategy by collecting these data, putting it in one place, getting a data scientist, analyze, preventive maintenance. And we do some exercise called cost optimization programs, but not manual, using technology. And this is the future.
Yeah, the dashboard. In the end, you come up with a dashboard so that you're able to maintain. You have all the important elements in front of you and so on.
Now, the challenge of dashboard, everybody has more reactive dashboard. Oh, work order versus this, call center. These are dashboard. These are operational dashboard. We want to create strategic dashboard, tactical dashboard.
Yeah, so you're talking
cost
about
per energy,
so
budgets, manpower. So you go to the next level and you show the guys in the top relevant dashboard to them. If I give them a dashboard that helps me as an FM company, they don't make it relevant to what it has to do with me. If I tell you as a healthcare operator or as an owner of property, your ROI will be impacted by this, or your energy cost or sustainability, they will be more interested. So creating the right dashboard, impactful dashboard, I think it's next.
Most important, I think, especially for stakeholders and owners.
Exactly.
On this note, there's another question I have. So we always face a problem when we go to clients or we go to people that we try to convince about facility management, especially when we want to incorporate technology on the cost or it being expensive, or on the ROI.
Yes.
Now, obviously, smarter clients, you don't have to explain to them too much. They know on the building cycle life, they'll amortize, and they're going to make it more efficient. They're going to be
Yes.
saving money here, there, da, 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 da. However, and again, I say this because I know this very well. UAE has come out of that already a long time ago. I see this happening more here now because we are rapidly in Saudi Arabia. We're rapidly gearing up for these things. So how do you tackle that? How you went through this problem? This is a growing pain. So how did you deal with this growing pain back in the day in the UAE? Because forget about AI. Okay, fine, AI, but I know that's today AI. Yesterday it was IoT. Before that it was something else. So there was always tech, and facility management was always looked at as a more expensive way of maintenance. So how did that change in the UAE? What did you have to do, or what are you continuously doing? That's the first part, and then how do you see that applying to Saudi?
Yeah. So I think best practices are important, but they come at a cost. You don't want to do best practice and you want to look at 1 year cost. Of course, it's going to be cheaper for you to hire a maintenance company than an FM company. But this is where I think a lot of good best practices happening in GCC, in UAE, and in Saudi Arabia and other countries, but also a lot of clients who wants to think about today and not think about 3 years down the road. I'll give you a simple example. I'm building a tower and I'm thinking about selling it in 3 years. Do you think I care about putting the right systems, making sure that it's maintainable? No, I will try to minimize my cost in the design and construction because I'm going to sell in it. So I'm going to sell it, And this is what we discussed and our dialogue with the government authorities in Saudi Arabia or in UAE, that guys, design, build, hand over the right way. And we have to enforce these designers because the designer has no saying. I have certain budget, I have to cut. I cannot, cut into the block works and the civil work. I can cut into the MAP and it's not visible. But it impacts the sustainability of the building. And this is where we're trying to create this awareness to make sure that first we don't design building with limitation. Now, if we design a building with limitation, of course, this cost impact is huge. Imagine if you make a rent of 10 million and I come to you suddenly, you didn't design it right, you didn't build it right. Now we need from you not to make money next 2 years and invest in refixing the problem. Otherwise, in 5 years, you're going to have a major problem in your building. And I think I met a lot of developer. He says, Ali, I want to hire a facility manager. I said, why? He says, because my rent will be, I can charge more. I said, but it's a culture, it's a process. He's right, by the way. But I said, the facility manager alone will not do it. You have to have a strategy, after sales service, because you think if you're going to sell your building, your name will be impacted, even if you sell the building. That developer, I bought from him, I'm not going to buy again. So as a real estate companies now, they're thinking really effectively and deeply, I need to have the right service after even I sell because my name is in that tower. So this is where I think it's more about awareness, legislation, slowly, we have to enforce legislation. And number 3, we have to show the big picture. As an FM professional, we have to go and say, yes, you can hire a maintenance company, but I can hire it for you. But what I'm doing more, I'm managing your risk, I'm helping you with the sustainability agenda, I'm giving you a budget for next 5 years. I have to have the tool as an FM to give you more value add. And this is what we urge our FM professional. We're trying a lot to give the right training. And I always say training alone will not help you. You get a certified facility manager or mu'tamad course, but then if you don't apply that in what you do every day, you're not going to really become a real FM expert who can implement things. So this is our, I think, limitation is people development now. We can create awareness, clients can do it, but do we have enough expert who can go to a client and understand his process and help him to put the right process, implement, select the right people, train the people, put the processes together, use technology. Because also you don't want to allow the technology guy to give you whatever he sells. You need to pick and choose. Otherwise you're going to pay too much for technology. So it's a culture, people, information, technology, and management. This is the four pillars of any FM system. Management will help you to put the right target and priorities. Information will give you visibility. Information about the asset, information about people competency, information about who lives in that building, what is the objective.
How
and
it's
then,
used.
Yeah, and then people competencies, people skills. Do you have a process for people to work with, procedures? And then finally, of course, the enabler is technology. Without technology, you'll have very limited visibility. And I remember I've been called to one of the mega projects in GCC and say, Ali, our technicians, they are very slow in reacting to a call out, and we need you to train them and give us a guarantee that they will improve. I said, well, I don't think you need training only. You need me to come to your facility and see maybe you don't have the right process and procedure for the facility. You say, yeah, we lost this technician, and once we lost him, we lost all the information. I said, that's
So no
wrong.
SOPs, no nothing.
Exactly. And complex facility, you have VRVs and valves in hidden locations. So you have to have the right process, procedure, SOPs. Maybe you need technology like BIM. You need technology that helps you to find out these valves, because if there is a leak and it's building becoming older, the technician has to straight away go and isolate that valve. So these are the challenges that we have in the built environment with these airports and very complex airports and malls and trade centers, exhibition centers. So we need not just training, you need to put the right process and procedure. And then use technology, because without technology, it's very difficult for the guys. I give you a simple example of technology. Now, you have Google Lens. As an engineer, I don't have to drive 2 hours to go to the site. The technician will wear the Google Lens. He will send me a link. I'll open. I'll see what he sees. I can open the manual online and help him to troubleshoot. I can send a link to my client and say, don't go to the site. We're troubleshooting. But if you're worried too much, I'll send you a link to see. Technology is there. And by the way, if you go to certain supplier, they will charge you $10,000 per one Google Lens. But if you're smart enough, you can source it for $1,000. IoT sensors are a big tool. You can program them to help you to do a better job in your built environment, manage risks, manage efficiency, and they are very affordable. They should be sold at least $10. But people are selling IoT sensor at $100, $200 each.
Still?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. White labeled.
China did not make it cheaper yet?
Yes, but the problem is you want a solution. So you go to that technology guy who will give you an IoT sensor with a program, with a platform, so he's going to make more money.
Obviously.
So this is why sometimes you need to be creative. And I always tell the people, creativity is not you charge extra for it. Creativity is you become more efficient and you get the ROI from the solutions. Not it's a solution that cannot offset itself. So there is a lot to talk about in the domain of facility, and it's a very interesting, industry that really tap into many other sectors, and we can help not just to make buildings smart, make cities smart, make countries smart. I think this is one of the biggest agenda we have in GCC is sustainability and smart.
Please say that again.
I see it
About
again.
the smart. Please say it again.
So I think facility manager not just make buildings smart and efficient and sustainable, can make mega project, can make cities, can make countries. So we should have a facility manager running the city. I know we have a mayor, but mayors doesn't know what's happening in the different building and elevator, somebody getting trapped, there's a major flood in any building. So if you have a wide city-wide FM strategy, can help you to manage that more effectively and more sustainable, and you can measure and benchmark who's doing better in my city.
I think that's coming now.
Inshallah.
With what happened in Saudi, we had some issues with flooding, we had some issues even in Hajj and so on and so forth, where you had some stampedes and stuff like that. But alhamdulillah, obviously the government has solved that. And how did they solve that? I think the solutions that they provided might have not been thought of as facility management solutions, but it actually was.
Yes.
Because they were just directing traffic differently, they were managing it better, they put sensors, cameras, and so on and so
mitigating the risk.
Exactly,
somehow.
mitigating the risk and so on. So countries are doing that as well. They just didn't think about it as a facility management solution.
Yes.
Now that's changing. And that leads me to the next question, which is that because a lot of the times we talk about this, what's the difference between maintenance company and facility management company?
Well, I think both are doing their objective. Maintenance is just maintaining an equipment, has nothing to do with the organization objective, strategy, big problems in design, budgeting, energy. They're just maintaining. I do a maintenance, and if there is anything wrong with the machine, I ask you to pay extra for the spare. But as a facility management company, I'm more strategic. I come and see how you operate this building. What is the limitation in this building? They call it building performance. And then I look at the service delivery method. Do I want to do this in-house or outsource? And then I look at your process and procedure in managing your building. How do I interact with the stakeholder communication? Because sometimes it's user's problem. He misused the building. They smoke in the wrong place. They block the emergency exit. So I need to look at the user's behavior as well, the process and procedure. I need to put the right budget. So this is what we call strategic planning in MM. Service delivery method, performance of these facilities, process and procedures and competencies of people, and finally the right allocated budget, financial, operating budget, replacement budget. And once I have these 4 pillars in and I help the client to put this pillar, then I did my job as a facility management company, and they can see the value and say, you know what, I will keep you as my partner, not my, I don't like the word, I'm muqawil. You know, muqawil is wrong for a, yeah. That can be for a maintenance company. But if you want a real FM company, he has to be your partner. You have to tell him about your strategy, your challenges, your pain, customer survey in your building, because there is end user and there is a partner. I'm your partner. We are together, make sure that the end user of the facility has a better quality of life in that facility. So that's the right mission of FM.
So I would say, if to end that question would be, my definition would be is that maintenance companies are like simple suppliers that execute the maintenance of the thing. But like you said, facility managers or facility management companies are strategic partners.
Yes, exactly.
Because when you get into somebody's P&L, when you get into their costing, when you get into how to make something more efficient and better run at a better cost, that's not just.
And they engage in your design of your project and handover. So they are with you the whole life cycle.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Of course. And this leads me to the other bit that we were talking about earlier when you were saying about leaders, practitioners, and professionals in facility management. We need more of them.
Yeah.
Right? So this also, this mindset and this has changed, because facility management, again, now it's called facility management. Before it was just called maintenance. So before, when you want to attract talent, they would look at maintenance as, oh, I'm going to be cleaning, I'm going to be doing landscape. That's a dirty job.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. That's a dirty job. But now, with the education, with the tech, with this, with that, with all that, people are now interested in entering the facility management industry.
Yes.
It's not just the engineering part, because engineering has always been there for the construction and whatnot and so on. But as facility managers, again, we're not just managing facilities sometimes. We're managing events, we're managing the operations of these things and so on. So you can be part of almost anything. And it is interesting. It is truly interesting, the facility management. So how do you see that? Because I know that this has been a problem for us in Saudi for attracting Saudis, especially, because they didn't see it before. Now you see the Saudis are coming into it. They're interested in it. They understand that it's a much bigger role than just a simple labor management supervisor or whatever. What is the experience that you went through in the UAE? And how do you, again, all my questions are going to have this part where, how is it with you in Saudi Arabia as well? Or do you see that?
See, I work in UAE and Saudi Arabia at the same time. MEFMA covers the whole Middle East, Egypt, and other countries in the Middle East. And we have similar challenges in UAE and in Saudi Arabia. And I did one roadshow like maybe 7-8 years ago, entrepreneurship in FM, because everybody wants to be in FM. And we did it in Dammam, we did it in here in Riyadh with the Riyadh Chamber. People were interested. How to come into this industry? Now I'm doing another roadshow, how to have a successful career path in asset and facility management. Because you need to be in the field, not just taking courses.
Of course.
You need to see buildings behavior. You need to work with technicians, cleaner, see what they do, what is their challenges, what's their welfare. You need to go in. And I always say, I said it yesterday, هذا الميدان يا حميدان. I know they're always talking about facility management engineering certificates. And, I'm the guy who learned in the site. And still, until today, I love to attend call out and go to the site and work and support my team. And one of the guys yesterday says, Ali, but if you as a CEO go to the site, technician will panic. You're there. I said, that's because I've never been there. But if every call out and other call out, I go to the site, I bring food to them, I make them understand that they're doing an amazing job, they're hero, they will be more self-confident that whatever happened, my CEO will back me up. So I told...
On this point, you've mentioned it before, communication.
Yeah.
Very important.
Culture, creating the culture of accountability. I always say you cannot be a leader. You have to create, unless you create a leadership culture. Everybody is leading his domain and he's proud of what he does. And we have to take care of people and organization objective at the same time, not just organization objective and forget about the people. And this is where I feel it's important for us to urge the young generation to come, but they have to understand the expectation. You're not gonna sit in the office with a clean kandura or dishdasha. You need to go to the site. You need to understand what problems we have in the building. To become a doctor, you have to do surgeries, right? And these are the surgeries that I'm...
Well, my part or my history of facility management, the most enjoyable parts were the most dirtiest parts.
Exactly.
To be honest, right? Because it's also it's a great thing to go and solve problems. That's what we do as facility managers.
Yeah.
So it doesn't always take you to a nice 5-star hotel or office or whatever. Sometimes it takes you to a water tanker underneath the thing with the dirt, and you're taking care of the sewage tank system or whatever. That's also important.
Yes.
Then somebody has to do it.
Yes.
Right? And it's our difficult task that we have to do. So I don't think facility management is for everyone. But I think a lot of facility managers are passionate about what they do.
That's important.
Yeah,
Passion is an important element.
I literally have on my tag on my LinkedIn, I say, it's not work if you love what you do.
Exactly.
I love what I do. And I think a lot of us facility managers or professionals, we love what we do.
That's very important. Passion is important. Discipline is important. Learning, not just from your own mistake,
of course,
learning from others, having a network. And today, this is what I urge the young professional. You have to have a network. If you cannot answer a question, ask somebody else. And today, we have the experts globally are connected. It's easy to connect to anybody. And this is where I think it's important for us to get the skills, networking, discipline, commitment, the right communication. Mm-hmm. And the engineers were upset yesterday when I said, we don't have to be an engineer to be a facility manager.
That's true.
If the engineer will not gain communication skills and financial skills and stakeholder management, he will not be able to be growing in that career in FM. While a guy non-technical, he's very smart. He hired the right people. He hired the right technical guys, and he manages stakeholders, and he understands the different parameters of his built environment. He will be very successful and grow. And this is what we have to create that expectation to our young generation, and we urge them to be part of this, industry.
It's not only the technical sense; it's also the commercial sense, the operating sense, all of it. It's a package deal, so to speak.
Yes, I agree 100%.
So you guys have already gone. When I say you guys again, I say UAE. So you guys have already gone through the growing pains. What do you now? You see how Saudi Arabia, mashallah, with all these mega projects everywhere. You love that term, mega projects.
Yeah.
With all these mega projects coming up, Murabba, The Line, Neom, mashallah, and all this that's happening nowadays. What do you see are the growing pains that we might be going through, or to expect that we're going to be going through?
Well, I think we have similar pain. I think this region is becoming a hub. I remember I've been through the Expo 2020 in Dubai, And we as FM individual or professional proud to have these events in our area. And now we're going to have another expo and another World Cup in Saudi Arabia. So I think these mega projects require early planning, early engagement of FM. That is very important. We want to build a control room that not just screens and alarms. We want to build a control room that have pre-alarm, that integrate between the different, elements of the build environment, being managing risk, managing efficiency, managing business disturbance. How can we make information available for these smart guys or experts who can analyze and help us to have more proactive strategy for managing these events? These events are very important. So it's not just building the stadium. The most important thing is make it more functional, integrate between this critical operation so we can manage risk. And I always say you cannot have 100% risk-free environment.
Of course.
But you can always analyze what are the risks, how I'm mitigating and managing this risk, what are the risk management measures. And of course, being in telecom background, I always tell my management, I cannot assure you 100%. I will build redundancy, build systems, but it's all about having the right people, the right management, the right technology, and the right information about these facilities to run them more effectively and sustainably. So I think the pain, we have challenges, but if we communicate right and engage FM in the early stage, I think we will go over it. And that feedback loop, when I build something, how can I improve it? The engagement or the integration between operation and maintenance and design. That is what we want. And this is, I think, in chapter 1, I talk about feedback loop, how to create that feedback loop that helped me to improve building better schools and better hospitals and better from a design aspect.
I mean, the lack of not having facility management companies engaged, especially in events like what you were saying. If I'm not mistaken, Qatar World Cup had a disaster outside the stadium with some of the I'm not going to talk about the name of the companies or anything like that, but with the accommodation outside it, and they had some tents or whatever and stuff like that. There was a big problem with that. The same applied to the UK, I believe, or
Australia maybe.
I don't remember which place exactly. Again, World Cup, football World Cup, and I'm not going to use the name of the company, but they were also in charge, I think, of the security, and they didn't have enough people, and it just turned into a war zone or something. It was terrible.
You see,
And this is when you don't have
again,
right
event management, crowd management, sometimes you have challenges. And
course.
even rain, if it rains for
course.
7 days, I cannot do that much. I can only wait until the rain stop to mitigate the risk.
Of course.
And help people make them safe. So we have challenges, but if we are more ready and prepared, more proactive, we can minimize, impact, manage risk well. And this is where I feel our main pain is designing, right? Making sure it's operable, maintainable, accessible, and then the handover. We take very little time in handover. And I think at least a handover strategy has to be 6 months. We do it sometime in a week.
Handover is a problem, it seems, because you
It's not just in GCC, globally.
Handover.
Yeah, because, the owner was, I want to rent it quickly and make money. And the contractor, in the last 10%, which is the most important stage, they are not given enough time to testing, commissioning, integration of the system, enabling technology. And this is why most of the BMS are commissioned after they open, maybe 1 to 2 years down the road. That's what happened in mega projects.
Really?
And this is where the challenge is. How can I make sure the last 10% of the projects are given enough time? Because it is the most important time. Giving birth, the most important time is when the baby is coming out. And that is when I say MAP, testing, commissioning. So, and I believe you need to have a third party who manage the commissioning of the building, not the same contractor and consultant.
Conflict of interest,
somehow. Exactly. So we have a lot to do, and we are passionate about what we do, and we need more people to come together to help us to really embrace sustainability in this industry and help us to achieve sustainability across the cities and the country.
Well, you personally are actually doing something about that with MEFMA. So you're a co-founder with MEFMA.
Yes.
And MEFMA, I believe, is spearing the way for, or spearheading the way for educating the market, not only in the UAE, even in Saudi, because I see you guys are doing a lot of workshops here in Saudi as well.
Yeah.
I think, mind you, I think maybe not enough. And I would suggest that you actually offer online courses too. I don't know if you're doing that.
We do that.
You do?
We have
From
continuously. Yeah. We have monthly courses running. We have monthly exams. And we just launched our Sustainability Facility Manager course that focus on applying sustainability into what we do every day in the built environment and thinking about sustainability in our strategic plan with the client. So this is a recent course that we launched, and the first batch will be very soon. And then we have our big event that's happening in Saudi Arabia. It's our MEFMA conference, exhibition, and awards. All together. Normally we do award in a separate forum. We decided to have them all together in one event. That's going to be 25th of May 2025 for 3 days in Hilton Gharnata in Riyadh. And it's going to be a huge exhibition, conference with subject matter experts and awards. Now, awards are very interesting because we have case studies from the region. And by the way, these case studies, they win in MEFMA and they go to the GlobalFM Award of Excellence. And last year we had one of the big projects in Saudi Arabia. They became number 4 among the whole world. So we are proud of our
number
partners.
4. What do you mean?
Their case study was ranked 4th.
Okay.
Globally.
All right.
Yeah.
What, they did like a white paper on it or
yes,
something
exactly.
Like
case study in technology and transformation. And we had even some other members, they got the platinum and they got the silver and they got the gold. So we have a lot of operators, clients. Even MEFMA has a client like Ministry of Culture, Al-Ula. We have John Hopkins Hospital. They are members of MEFMA. And we're proud. It's not just hosting FM companies, but also banks, operators of hospitals, owners. That's the important, that we create a dialogue between all the stakeholders to help the industry become better and have a better, approach toward efficiency, sustainability, applying best practices. This is what
I believe when you guys started MEFMA, I think I was actually one of the first guys that also in it, and also the organization that I was with, we became corporate members with you guys very, very quickly. Because
strategic members, of
course. But because we see the value and we saw it. We're also pioneers in our industry, in our area. Obviously, we saw that. And it is one of the best things. I believe, unfortunately, I'm not sure if there was an offshoot that was attempted to be made. I was invited as well for a Saudi version of MEFMA. But it didn't look like it did very well, and I don't think it didn't take off, actually. And I think having MEFMA already is more than enough, to be honest, because you guys are doing it right,
I think inshallah, very soon.
Maybe you need a bigger chapter.
Yeah.
In Saudi.
This is what we are doing very soon. We're going to launch it, inshallah. We're going to have...
We need to talk about that separately by then.
Yeah, no problem. But ultimately, I think as a MEFMA, we know that we have a lot of partners and members who are working across GCC, not just in UAE. They are in UAE, they are in Saudi Arabia, they are in Egypt.
So even outside now.
Exactly.
Because a lot of people are trying to tap into the GCC.
Exactly.
They're doing it through you guys.
Yeah. And I just, being a Global FM chair, I just want to remind you that second week of May, we celebrate World FM Day globally. And MEFMA will celebrate that through the conference in Riyadh on 25th of May. And we're going to have the awards. And whoever won MEFMA award might be a winner of Global FM award.
Is the FM World Day is 25th?
No, it's going to be between 12th to 13th of May. It's the second Wednesday of second week of May. That's how they make it, because of Ramadan and this and weekend. They make a week of World FM Day celebration because of the different members across different continents. And you can say we can celebrate World FM Day during May. It doesn't have to be a day.
Exactly. You just give me an idea for an activation or event that I would want to do with here in Saudi as well. So
by the way, we put the map in Global FM website, and we show the celebration across the world, from Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Panama, Brazil, Australia. So we have all the members across the world, and they are all proud. And this year is about resilience, how to make the industry resilient. And there is a theme about it. So inshallah, I think it's an interesting way to be proud and celebrate with our heroes that are really, supporting our, our build
So
environment.
this is MEFMA Confex 2025. It's in May. Starts on the 25th of May. It's for 3 days. It's for 25, 26, 27.
Yes.
It's the Confex. It's the awards. And it's workshops.
Yes.
And is there anything else there as well? What else have we
There
got?
might be a site visit.
Site visit.
Yeah.
Usually there's a site
Yes,
visit.
yeah.
So I hope it's a good one.
Inshallah.
Let's go. We'll do that as
We have
well.
very amazing project in Riyadh to visit.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Riyadh, mashallah, there's so many.
Yes,
so many.
exactly,
KFD
exactly.
لوحده, mashallah.
Yes.
He's got a lot of stuff there. So this takes me to my next question, which is maybe a little bit sensitive. So facility management companies. Not everybody gets the right formula. Yeah. Sometimes, and you have a lot of facility management companies try to enter into Saudi or try to enter the GCC and so on and so forth. Some do great, some do miserably. And not only go bankrupt and go into loss and go مصايب in the end. So I'm not going to ask you for the whole list, but feel free. 1 or 2 points.
Yeah.
What makes a facility management company successful? Okay. And what might make it fail?
Yeah. I think it's one answer.
Oh, yeah?
If they're successful, they will not fail.
No, that's a trick concept.
Yeah, so, I always say to facility management companies, you have to understand, it's not just you. You have to see the other parameter, the client side. Clients, interest, client objective. And when you choose the right people to work with the client, it has to fit. Sometimes you say, one fit all. No. You have a process, you have a procedure, you have governors. But you have to tweak it a little bit to the different industry that you work within or the different client. And this is why we don't want to call the guy account manager. You have to call him, certain name like Facility Integrated FM Manager. So he understand. My job is making sure that I provide an integrated solution to my client. So again, understanding the client well enough. Who are the guys who have high influence, very low interest? How can I make sure I understand that? Because we have gaps when we deliver services. We have a scope of work that we have to stick with, but ultimately when we go to the site, there is a different need than the scope. So I have a chance to get more business out of the client. But I have to have that strategic guy who will understand, this is the scope, but actually they need more. And these are the risks. So I go and say, listen, after 3 months, we have met and provided services. And these are the services. These are the limitations in that contract with you. These are the risks in your building. This is the process and procedure of interacting with the end user. We recommend the following. What? That's an amazing idea because there is gaps. When you deliver a service, there is gaps. There is perception. There is actual need. So you design your operation in a way, and the need of the contract is something different. And you continue to offer what you offer because this is my scope. Yeah. So you need to have that bridge of that gap between.
But this is communication with client. Again, this is not the question though.
No, that's how to become successful. You have to understand the difference between two. Because
so as a facility management company, you're saying it's the communication with the client to align what they need.
The client doesn't know what he needs sometimes.
I'm saying go inside. Yeah. Go inward to, like, let's say, while you're in IMDAD, for example, or one of your other projects. Let me put it another way. So as a facility management company, you have internal elements and whatnot and stuff like that. So you have finance, having enough finance, enough relationships with your banks for certain assignments and whatnot and stuff like that. Getting your short-term, long-term loans or whatever, so you can finance payroll, you can finance this if you have large numbers and so on. That's one. Then technology, operations, how it's delivered, the training for that and stuff like that and so on. Sometimes you don't have proper alignment between the owners or stakeholders with the manager, with the
Okay, you're
board.
talking about the other side. I
I'm
got
talking
you.
about the other side.
Okay,
Because
not the client
we
side.
always talk about the clients and stuff. Let's talk about the other side.
Well, the other
Inwards.
side, selection of people, it's very important.
One of
You
the
know,
most important.
when I
things.
took over one of the roles as an FM service provider, and the first recruitment trip to India and the other, I went as a vice president. So why you're coming? I said, I want to talk to each cleaner. I want to talk to each technician. I want to tell them about what they're going to do here. I want to make sure that they have to understand that we have to have a commitment and they are part of a bigger goal. So if you do that, the selection is the most important thing. Making people emotional about the company and becoming part of the company. You have a lot of company, whatever they're being offered somewhere else, I'm going to stay in this company. Even if you offer me double the salary, because I have a link to their top management. They came to my house, they explained to me, and I have an opportunity to grow. So people development, people selection. And a technician in MDAT, for example, I had a technician who becomes an associate director. When you win a new contract, you give the opportunity for your guys to grow before getting a new guys from outside. So people development, people selection is very important. Then having information. This is what we lack. We don't have information today about the real information about how we perform, who is performing better, creating that incentive. If I perform better, I'm going to get more. It's just one bonus for everybody, There are certain contracts, guys work hard, they deliver, the client is happy. They're different than the guys who don't deliver, So selecting the right people, putting the right people in the right place. And this is what always when I go to an organization, say, I have 100 days war room. What? You're killing us. No. War room means work act resolution. You act and resolve problems. And how do you resolve problem? You bring the directors and the manager and say, what are the challenges? HR, procurement, write it down. Now you know who will solve it? You. I'm going to help you. And I want to make sure the support function come to you. You don't go to them. So I make sure procurement, HR, they go to each contract every month and sit with them. Rather than I'm the profit center being treated like I have to go to headquarters. No, I want my support function to come and see me. So normally we isolate these guys. We want a contract. Ali, good luck. You mobilize this contract. The client expects the whole organization. So HR should go and attend meeting with the client, with the FM manager in charge, procurement and other. So this SLA culture is unfortunately is done in a paper. It's done other way. I'm in headquarters, you come and visit me. And this poor guy has a client, has to drive, and has to make sure that he has the right to spare. Mobilization is done, based on site, not based on the office. So I think this culture of we are all responsible for making our client happy. We are all responsible for bringing business, not just the business development guy. And it is leading by example. So it's a huge effort by the management to embrace this culture of accountability, working together, cross-functional. I'm not HR, means I'm HR. No, I have to understand the business. I have to go to my client who are the FM manager on site. And of course, making these cost optimization program, understanding really how can I create synergy. We do a lot of mobile operation, and you see, I'm serving this bank, I go to this location, and there is another contract school next to it, but these two FM managers don't work together. I have my resources, you have your resources, thank you very much. But if you create that synergy, wow, you have, a great leverage.
Of course.
So this is what I say, creating that culture of cross-functional, making us all accountable, not just the FM manager. I feel bad sometimes for FM manager because he's in the site, and as an owner, I say, do you get support? No, I don't get support from Amity. I'm trying to mobilize this alone. That's the wrong. So a client understand that this is not a client-oriented organization. It's more focusing on their internal processes and governance rather than client. So these are the advices. The opposite.
So hold on. So then on this, so you said first one is the selection, and you're making the people,
the development of people.
You're making the people feel ownership.
Yes.
And that's why, like you said, the loyalty and
You know
the
what I do
dedication and
sometimes?
so on.
I take a video. When I meet the guys on the site in India, I take a video with them.
I know, I go to Bangladesh, I go to
But
Philippines,
I
do
take
the
a
same.
video,
Right.
and when he comes after 2 months shocked, I said, listen, come.
See your video.
See your video. I told you everything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
We do orientation videos and stuff like that as well and whatnot. Sometimes in their own language, sometimes we get the managers, sometimes we have online interviews. Obviously, when it is when it's not blue collar and it's brown or white and technical stuff and so on, then we do the actual face-to-face, but online as well.
Yeah.
And then we have our agents and we have our people go down to. So that the first one was the selection. The second one you were saying was what was it again?
it's making sure that the support function.
I got it. I'll sum it up for you. Making sure the whole company is involved, basically,
Yes.
in that contract,
Mobilization.
in that mobilization. So that, like, and by the way, thank you for that. That's the first time I heard it, and I agree with you 100%. Because a lot of the times you'll have the guy go out, takes the mobilization plan, agrees with the client, everything comes back, then you have issues with selection, have issues with timeline, have issues with this and this, because the HR guy didn't go, because the procurement guy didn't go, because God knows who didn't go, and they are getting fed by that one POC or whoever and so on. Absolutely, actually, that's a great point that I want to keep. So now the second part, downfall. We did the success part. These are elements of success. Just 2 elements that would end a facility management company, basically.
Yeah.
You need to,
Well, the first one is getting feedback from client. You have to do that frequently. When I become a service provider and wear the hat, I call my clients monthly. I visit them at least, being a VP, or maybe it's difficult to visit all of them every month, at least quarterly, and making myself approachable. Listen, this is my number. He's full calm. If you don't do that, and you start doing that when the contract is almost expiring, it doesn't give you credibility.
it's like when you call a friend that you haven't seen for a long time and then you ask him for a favor.
Yeah,
You don't do that.
So I think the feedback loop is important.
Feedback
that is,
loop.
and then having processes that are too long. We love to create process, but if the process is too long, that kills, and you become very late in responding to client requirement. And I told you, different client, different setup. Sometimes petty cash is 1,000, sometimes petty cash is 20,000. Depending on the
20
client.
million.
See, so you have to create this process.
Of course.
And sometimes I see clients and say, listen, I want to give your guy 10,000 more. Can you put it in the salary? And he goes and asks the guy, did your company pay you? No, still I didn't get it last 2 months. The client become upset. So we have to have that agility in what we do with our client. This is why the connection between the back of house or support function and the guy who's in charge of delivering the process. And again, technology can be an enabler or can be a killer. Long processes, and then putting the technology, embracing technology very fast, and not able to really engage these guys on the site in using technology properly. Sometimes I do this site visit and I say, can you show me your CAFM system? And I look at the information in the CAFM, the rubbish. So you're spending that much money in using a CAFM.
You put garbage into a system, you get garbage out.
So you need a guy who is like business excellence, who looks at each operation side and help them to use the system correctly. And by the way, I always say, please, standard operating procedure, don't develop it centrally. Give the tool to the guys on the site. Teach them how to do SOP. Let them do their own SOPs for the site. Let them take relevant picture. Yeah, exactly.
Let them contribute.
Make them engage. And this is where I think using technology the right way, taking time to implement technology, and having the right processes. You have to have flexibility in a process. You have to have a process. It has to be clear, but it cannot be perfect. Sometimes you have to go and bypass certain elements because it's an emergency. But you have to catch the factors. You have to have this quality assurance on, for example, sometimes we have the same supplier working with 2 guys in different sites. He's charging them 10, he's charging the other guys 15. If you have guy in the middle looking at data, he can streamline that. The guys on the side don't communicate.
Yeah,
So this is why
this
the business excellence, the technical, that sits in the ground. And I always say, tap into your resources. I have an electrical problem in this site. I need to know who is good in electrical and where is he, which site. Mr. Gopa, please come. You're in that site. I need you today to come. So client have self-confidence that he's not only having that MEP engineer sitting on the site. He has 2,000 MEP engineer, whoever is needed based on his. So how to make sure that I understand the capability of every person, a member of my organization. How can I tap in it? And the last one is risk, managing risk on behalf of the client. If you don't manage risk, this risk will hit the client and the client will blame you. So you have to do risk assessment every time you take a building. So this is what we don't do. So this is my scope. No, you have to go and do a risk assessment. When it comes to reliability, business continuity, contingency, because a bank, if you operate a bank, and it's not in your scope, but you highlighted risk in the building, he will be very happy.
Of course.
He will trust you more.
He'll appreciate it.
Yeah.
Of course. You are there to pinpoint the things that he doesn't see.
Yeah.
That is exactly what you're supposed to do. So summing it up though, and I'm only going to cover the first 2 points, was the first one is that feedback loop. He constantly get information from you, your client, be up to date with what he needs, what he doesn't need, and so on. But you lose that connection, that's when you start losing the confidence from that client, and he starts looking somewhere else. The second one was
more of business excellence, process, technology, using it in the right way, culture change, embracing, So it's a business excellence in your own domain. How to make sure the supply chain is clear. You create partners with you. Again, these suppliers are full of information. You have to sit with them and say, do you have a risk in managing this chiller? What is the risk? Give me a life cycle assessment. Sometimes you don't need to hire the expert. By having the supply chain, feeling that they're confident and they trust you and they can mobilize without even an LPO. So that's business excellence.
Of course, definitely.
Yeah. I gave all the secrets, I think, today.
No, don't worry about it. We are not going to share any of these secrets. I'm lying entirely. The last one, really quick, because I know you want to talk about it, sustainability.
Yeah.
The floor is yours, because I know this is your subject.
This is why we're lucky to launch recently. Just now, we launched the Sustainability Facility Manager. And this is
MEFMA again.
MEFMA.
Yes.
Sustainable Facility Management Certification. And we focus on circular economy, net zero practices, ESG, and how as a facility professional can help the organization to achieve all these. And again, we need to have this in our agenda. For example, I know a lot of companies, even the client is not asking, they're trying to offset the carbon emission in their facility they operate. But of course, you have to measure how much carbon emission the different activities that I'm doing in the building is happening, and how can I offset this carbon emission? So measure it, then try to offset by doing best practices. Like transportation. Can I make my transportation more effective through cost optimization workshop? And this is why I think sustainability is in the heart of what we do, and it's a result of best practice. So you see, using technology, you have to apply and implement best practices to achieve sustainability. And this is why I think sustainability, without FM professionals operating the building the right way, you cannot achieve sustainable development. And this is where we're keen to work with companies who do energy saving. I think a lot of FM company added this service to their offering, energy saving, retrofit. That's a big topic. And it's not just replacing marbles. When you retrofit a building, you have to make it more sustainable, efficient, effective, and it generates more revenue to the client. Because people think just environment. No, commercial, social, and environmental. The social element of sustainability is important. How to make the quality of the life of the users better. So if I want to upgrade, retrofit the building, can I design it better? Can I make it more functional? Can I have it environmental friendly? Can I make more return to the owner of the building? And this is why it should not be called retrofit. It should be called revitalization, bringing life. And I think we have a lot of assets in GCC are 20, 25 years. And this is a big industry, retrofit, revitalization of building, bringing life to these, making them more functional as a school, making the quality of the life of the user better and more social. Oh, there is a lot to say about in sustainability. Maybe we need another session.
No, that's for sure. This is only the first time we're going to do it.
Inshallah.
But I think also, while you're saying retrofit, there's also repurposing.
Yes.
They do that a lot outside.
This is revitalization.
أيوة, برا, they do this a lot in the
Repurpose,
UK, in the US, whatever. You'll see, there was actually, I used to live in Chelsea Bridge Wharf, and right next to me, there was a power station.
Yeah.
They turned it into a mall.
Yeah, exactly.
They turned it into a mall and residential apartments. It was a power station.
They don't demolish more. They
didn't demolish it.
Yeah.
They made sure that it has been, in the UK, how they maintain buildings. It's crazy. They have 400-year-old buildings. It's pristine. I mean, the window, you cannot do the maintenance if you don't have a license to do that type of window.
Exactly, yeah.
Hey, that's the type of stuff. Yeah. So we're going to have all the details about your book as well, obviously, at the end of the podcast with all the details. And we're going to have your link as well to your website, to your book and so on. Impactful Facility Management for Mega Projects, because everything about Ali is mega, obviously.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And although it's always a pleasure talking, I mean, we can talk forever. I mean, and we know each other for, I think, over already 10 years, or if not more. But I'm looking forward to the great things you're doing as well.
Thank you.
Thank God. Now it's in Saudi as well, so we're going to be seeing you a lot more, hopefully, inshallah. And if there is anything, please, you guys can reach out to Ali directly on the contacts that we're going to put out there. And Ali, thank you so much for your time. It is invaluable for you being with us.
Thank you. I really enjoyed the time and wish you all the best in your podcast.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.